So recently, KLOOP carried out an investigation into a website called Samarakg, a rather unusual site that appears to have put pressure on voters to cast their ballots for Sooronbai Jeenbekov in the election last month. And he subsequently won the vote. So tell us, how did KLOOP find out about this, and what is this investigation about?
We found it quite unexpectedly, to be honest, the day before the election, when one of our editor-in-chief, LDR, he saw this video that was posted by the guy who is anonymous, and we still don't know what is his name, who hacked this whole system. And he hacked this whole website called Samarakg, and then he released a video where he actually explained what this website was about. We decided that, okay, it's probably not worth of our attention. But just in case, just to double check, we decided to send a request to our friends from Kyrgyzstan, the Swedish-based NGO, which has access to these tools, very, very sophisticated but very expensive tools, which allow you to see the history of the domain name with a very, very high precision. Like, you basically can see it almost, with a day-to-day kind of accuracy, which server was each domain connected to, which server was each domain working with every day. So they checked Samarakg using these tools, and then 2 days later they sent us all this very detailed information about where it was hosted. And they basically found out that on the 13th of September 2017, Samarakg was redirected from a private hosting server to the server which belonged to the government of Kyrgyzstan, to the state registration service. And then it was hosted there until the moment that this Super Mario hacker, that was his nickname, when he hacked the system, or she. We actually don't know even the gender.
So what did the Samarakg site do during the election? Let's talk a bit about what its function was.
So according to the video that was posted by the hacker, Samarakg was used to collect information about a certain number of voters, and mostly because there was this personal identification numbers there, which are given to every Kyrgyz citizen, and in this personal identification number we can see year of the birth of the person. Mm-hmm. And many people who were in the system, they are young, and we think they are students. And students are one of these vulnerable groups of people in Kyrgyzstan who have been used during the last several elections.
So you mean they're vulnerable to what's called administrative resources?
Yes, exactly.
The government can put pressure on them.
Yeah, exactly. And basically what we assume the system was used for is that, and there is something important about Kyrgyzstan elections. Because of this reform that we had during our, with our elections, it's very difficult right now to basically draw the figures for the pro-government candidates, the ones that they would want. It's much more difficult to manipulate, the outcome of the election. And that's why what we assume they needed was they actually needed people to vote for a certain candidate and, to put this ballot into the box. And but how do you do that? How do you manage this whole huge group of people to vote for a certain candidate? You need to build a whole system which would help you to control how you basically buy votes, how you use this so-called administrative resource. And of course, one of the best and most convenient ways to control the system is by setting up something which you can easily check online, where every person who works for your campaign has his or her own account, where they basically mark who they gave money to. And that's what we assume the system was used for.
So you said you think that the campaign workers likely paid people and then marked that in Samara. Do you know for sure that that's what they did? Were there other means of pressure on the people, or?
Well, we interviewed actually several campaign workers from Jeenbekov's campaign, who confirmed to us that it was like this. But unfortunately, every one of them is, of course, giving anonymous interviews, mm-hmm. So they don't want their names to be revealed. And that's how they described. We published a whole interview with one of these campaign workers who described us the way it was working. So yes, the main goal was to mark who of the people are being paid. And then, of course, then there was this another way of putting pressure on people by, spreading this rumor that it is possible to see who everyone voted for.
Coming back to Samara, the site itself didn't just appear, at least a site at that web address didn't just appear on the day of the election. It existed before, and maybe it still exists today. What was it before?
So before the 13th of September, it was a website of real estate agency.
And did it actually work as a real estate agency?
We actually don't know, to be honest. We managed to check this out again through digital traces that were left by the domain, but we don't know. We know the only thing is that it's registered on the name of Omurbek Babanov, a former government official and a former minister actually. And Omurbek Babanov is also one of the key people at the construction company called Hromadske, so he is in these circles of real estate anyway. But the thing is that, yeah, so the website represented, this real estate agency before the 13th of September. Then it became, this database of people who are being paid for to vote for someone, or possibly for Jeenbekov, I guess. Then it was hacked, and then for 10 hours or so, it was showing the video done by this Super Mario hacker. Then
that he put there.
Yeah, that he put there, because he managed to kind of redirect the domain name Samarakg to the server that he was controlling. But then the control over the server was restored by people who were running the system. But the day after the election was over, this website now shows, the company that does laundry for carpets or some carpet laundry.
Like it cleans rugs.
Yeah,
carpet cleaner,
carpet cleaning service. Yeah, exactly. Carpet cleaning service. This is what it is right now. And the funny thing is that we kind of tried even to clean a carpet, But the thing is that, every time we were calling, they were telling us that they are not cleaning every carpet, that, they clean only huge carpets. So we tried to find a huge carpet to clean. But then, we decided that it's more important to publish the investigation now, that we cannot wait until we clean the carpet. Because anyway, unfortunately, what is difficult for us in this investigation is that we are mainly talking about quite complicated technical terminology. Mm-hmm. And we tried to write the first part of the investigation that we have already published. We tried to write it as simply as possible, which took a lot of, editorial work. Mm-hmm. Still, I guess many people in Kyrgyzstan don't really understand the concept of what was wrong. And so far, what we managed to prove was wrong, that some website which had, a suspicious database of people was hosted at the government server for 1 month. This is what we definitely managed to prove. This is what we are 100% sure about.
Interesting. So have the authorities responded to KLOOP's investigation, and how have they responded, if so?
Well, the response was quite disappointing, because State Registration Service, what they said was they were just denying whatever we were writing. They were just saying that we were wrong without actually giving any counter arguments and without, publishing any proof of Samara's non-existence. Which disappointed us, because we were hoping to have a high-profile, nerdy kind of discussion with them, debate. We published our response in which we said that we are disappointed by their response. Then they said, okay, we start our internal investigation. They conducted it for less than 1 day, and the result of the investigation was we didn't find anything suspicious. That's what they said. And we demand KLOOP to publish a retraction. Is it retraction?
Yeah, retraction.
Yeah. Publish a retraction of what they wrote in the investigation. We, of course, refused to publish any retraction because we are 100% sure that we were right. So we published, another statement where we explained why we will never publish a retraction of our findings. To which State Registration Service then, on 4 days after the investigation was published, they promised that they would sue us. And we are still waiting, because they still haven't filed a lawsuit. So we don't know what's going to happen further. But unfortunately, all the other government entities have not officially responded yet.
So I want to ask, do all these things, the Samara.kg site, the administrative resources, now the charges against Babanov, do they change your assessment of the fairness of this election?
Yeah, they actually do. Because, I was hoping for something much better than that, to be honest. On one hand, it's a really strange feeling. I'm divided, to be honest. Because On one hand, I'm quite happy that authorities have to go so far to, to try to manipulate the result of the elections. It's a really good sign that, they have to build such complicated systems. So in a way, the whole election process, I think, has become better in Kyrgyzstan during last 7 years. But still, seems like there were violations, and there were serious violations, and maybe we should stop comparing ourselves to the older version of Kyrgyzstan, and this is unfortunately one of the biggest problems of politicians in Kyrgyzstan.